is a global pandemic. I feel like we had such great momentum going into all this. Boxing's going to be affected.
Reality is, this is a pandemic. We should be inside. We don't want these boxers to get this virus. Live sporting events everywhere has been affected by the virus.
Boxing ever recover?
When are we coming back?
To the fighters, stay ready.
What does training look like during a pandemic?
We've lived off that big event feel. The crowds, the Sweet Caroline, you know, people dressing up and having a good fun. We've worked so hard to drive the momentum of the sport. We can't let it come crashing down.
La verdad es que me mantuvo entrenando. La pandemia era lo único que podía hacer prácticamente, ¿no? Entrenar, jugar golf, estar en casa era lo que hacía. Pues soy una persona que siempre le gusta, si estoy de vacaciones, siempre le gusta correr, hacer algo en el gimnasio, ¿no? Siempre me gusta estar activo. Mi cuerpo me lo pide. Con muchas ganas de pelear, eso es lo único que me ha afectado. Pero pues, como te digo, hay que adaptarse a la situación, ¿no? Es una situación muy complicada para todos.
La inactividad creo que no es lo más correcto en un atleta, menos en un boxeador. Pero el estar en el gimnasio, el estar practicando, el estar trabajando el día a día, creo que hace un poco menos importante la inactividad.
One thing about Canelo's team, they ain't letting up, they ain't slowing down. Everybody's in the gym every day, they all ready to scrap.
I've been training with Canelo for maybe 2.5 years. It means a lot. If you're around greatness, you're going to become great. It's making me push even harder, and it's that competitive spirit that brings to the table, you know. He's the best in the world right now.
Cuando estás tranquilo en que has hecho las cosas bien, pues no hay por qué preocuparse.
It's been different. Obviously, a lot of the gyms shut, so there's no training at all at the start. I've been one of the lucky ones who have been able to train over the past few months. As long as you can get in the boxing gym and you can run outdoors, there's plenty of different ways to get in shape, so obviously it hasn't been ideal, but you make do with what you've got. It's been challenging, but we've got round it, and I'm in very good shape.
Not being able to have access to facilities, swimming pools, running tracks, all that type of thing, all locked down. Not being able to get to use equipment that we'd usually use. The choice of sparring partners can't get access to. It's been hard. For Callum now, as we're getting closer to fight time, locking down the gymnasium, other fighters in the gymnasium stay away now. From a gym that was always busy and a good vibe, that's just gone now, and it's just me and Callum Smith in the gym for these 2 weeks.
Sometimes I like going to the gym, but with the COVID situation, anything I can do at home is best. It can become a bit mentally exhausting, but the less people I'm around, the better.
We're a live event company. We live and breathe live sport. Right now, it's been taken away from us. Boxing needs to return. How long are you going to wait? You've got to keep people talking. You've got to keep people thinking, keep the fighters relevant. You've got to keep exposing them to the public.
The thought of not doing it this year, some people can't get their head round. Canelo Alvarez is one of those guys. You know, he didn't want to go through the whole of 2020 when you look back on BoxRec and you see no activity. He didn't want to do that.
Obviously, Canelo has been vocal about wanting to fight Smith and win that world title. Here's a guy that is going to have to fight and fight for the credit of the people. That's just what happens when you're on top.
Tenemos que demostrar y seguir demostrando que somos los mejores. Para eso tenemos que ganarle a los mejores peleadores.
La gente está interesada en esta pelea y obviamente estaba en la cartera de rivales que tenemos, ¿no? Y pues optamos por Callum Smith porque, como te digo, es el número 1 en las 168 libras y pues al final es lo que quiere.
He wants to fight the champions, you know, all the time.
He was offered the same money to fight easier fights. He said, no, I want Callum Smith. I want the number one. I mean, it's remarkable, and that's so good for boxing. We went straight in, you know, we tried to make this fight. There wasn't a lot of time.
You know, everybody's thinking, everybody's trying to get creative.
We've got to go to work now. You know, the chips are down, our back's against the wall, but we've got to keep this sport moving.
This is the fight we've been waiting for since 2019. Canelo versus Callum Smith. You don't want to miss this.
When you look at guys who have the ability and the potential to beat Canelo Alvarez, Callum Smith is at the top of that list.
Canelo's last previous opponents were between 4 and 6 years older than him. Callum Smith is the same age as him. Canelo knows he's in for a hard fight. Both want the challenge.
This fight has come at a great time for Callum Smith.
He wants to throw himself in the deep end. He wants to see how good he is.
It will take his greatest performance of his career to dethrone the legend of Canelo Alvarez.
If this opportunity doesn't come around for Callum, what is the next opportunity? So sometimes you have to grab it with both hands.
This is it. This is the best chance he'll have to win that legacy moment by beating the pound-for-pound number one.
This is going to be a bit of a different experience. Callum can talk about in the long run. I beat Canelo, the pound-for-pound best, when the world was in a pandemic.
This is the first fight that is against another big name. I just think at 168, at my very best, I'm the better fighter. And I think I'll prove it December 19.
Two fighters, both in the prime, both hungry, both determined, both want to win. The world awaits on this fight.